the Hooters Pro Cup Series, their second appearance here at South Boston Speedway for the Northern Division. Round 10 action for the USAR. The Sponge Absorbent 250 is set to go. Hello, everybody. I'm Gene Crane, Scott Sullivan alongside, and Doug Rice down on pit road to cover all the action and the fans turning out on what has been rather a dismal day here, Scott.
Well, our Jackaroo sauces weather, how about this? Temperature 74, 80, rain. Rain is the story of this whole weekend. Got rained out yesterday, 30 minutes of practice this morning. We got to go into this race totally blind.
Let's head down trackside. Doug Rice has caught up with our pole sitter, Benny Gordon.
For the third time this year, Benny Gordon is the Advanced Auto Parts pole sitter. This time he wins the pole by virtue of being the points leader in the Northern Division. And Benny, we're here at South Boston. You guys have had a very limited amount of practice. Are you basically heading off into the unknown in today's race?
We got a lot of notes from here in the past, but and we got about 20 minutes of practice earlier. But I guess I got to thank Mother Nature for this one. And any way to catch Johnny Rumley, who has probably 6 poles in the series this year. I got to thank Predator Performance and Murray's Ford also, and also Advanced Auto Parts for putting the pole up. Tonight's race, I think it's going to take a while for our car to come in. You might see one of these guys get out in front of me, but 30, 40 laps in, I'll be coming back to the front.
All right, this is a pole well earned. He picked up this pole position because of the team's performance throughout the 2004 season.
Well, Benny Gordon has paid close attention to the stats as we get set for the command. Hooters girls alongside to give the command to fire the engines.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
The cars rumble to life down trackside as we get settled this Sunday afternoon, originally scheduled for a Saturday night event. Weather throughout the entire East Coast countryside has delayed racing action to Sunday afternoon, and down on the trackside we see Johnny Rumley lined up to the outside of row number 1 for the start. Scott, that might be a good place to start this race.
Well, typically we've been able to get a good run off the outside groove at all these short tracks we've been to, but today's a little bit different because of the weather, because of the rain and moisture on the racetrack. It's going to be tough to get traction. These guys are really going to have to soft pedal around this racetrack, get their feet up underneath them real well before they can get busy racing. But just as a side note, I want to say our thoughts and prayers go to all those folks down in Florida. What a disaster it has been, and I hope they can dig themselves out. And Gene, I know you're from down that direction.
Yes,
I know
indeed.
things have been tough, so let's hope everything works out down there. My son is headed down there with the National Guard trying to dig them folks out, and my thoughts and prayers are with them.
Well, my wife was quite a trooper weathering through that storm on Friday evening. I'll be down there to help clean up very shortly. Your naturally fresh starting grid, Benny Gordon, your point leader. We'll start from the pole. Johnny Rumley in the 8 car will line up alongside. Row number 2, we'll see Marty Lindley and his Hooters Air Ford on the inside, and Gary St. Amant in the Jex.com 11 car to the outside. Row number 3, Jeff Agnew, 1 win so far this season, and coming in off his career best finish on the outside is Glenn Galt in the 32. Joel Kaufman and Danny Sammons, a couple of the young guns, make up row number 4. Kaufman in the 44, Sammons in that familiar 97 machine. Brian Ross in that 68, a brand new look here of recent for Brian Ross, and the veteran Joe Harrison Jr. in the 57 make up row 5. Sam Falone of the 48, rookie contender here in 2004, is joined by Eric Corbett in the 75. Jimmy Spencer Jr., car number 36, another rookie here in 2004, and Todd Peck in car 40 make up row 7. Row number 8, J.J. Pack in the 06, and the veteran Chad Mullis in car number 9. Row number 9, we see Kevin Cromer, open wheel pilot in the 76 car. He'll start to the inside in that machine. And Robbie Marhefka, car number 85, both rookies in that 9th row. Forrest Urban Jr. in the 46 starts alongside Roger Blackstock and the number 1 car to make up row number 10. Johnny Mackison Jr. in car 65 is joined by the 69 of Wayne Setterington in row 11. And in row number 12, we'll see Alan Perkeiser, the rookie in car number 7, and Chad Mason, car number 13. Mason making his very first start here at the USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series. Southern Invaders, Jay Fogelman in the 4S, and Mark Whitaker in the 3S make up row number 13. Row 14, we'll see Richard Landreth in the 15S. He's a rookie. And Stacy Purrier, car number 01S in that 14th row. Final starter, Jake Hobgood, car number 64S. He is a rookie here, making his 3rd start of 2004. that 64S machine. Good to see him back in action. Field has rolled away, Scott. A lot of moisture still around this speedway down on pit road. Concerns for the pit crews?
Well, absolutely, it's a concern, but the racetrack's a little bit of a concern as well because we don't know how much bite's on top of the racetrack, especially in the second groove. You get into lap traffic, it's going to be really tough. You're right along with Johnny Roman in the Lucas Oil Pontiac this week. You're going to see a lot of good shots from the front of this car. Marty Lindley, what about this guy? Can he repeat?
Lindley looking for that second win here at South Boston Speedway this year, and his Hooters Air Ford will ride along with him throughout the day. Then we'll take a different look at Gary St. Amant in the 11 car. St. Amant, once the green goes in the air, he will clinch the Miller Lite Rookie title for this Northern Division.
Yeah, we got to get his visor up so we can see those teeth when he's grinning come down that front straightaway for clinching that Rookie of the Year. How about this? 0.4 of a mile racetrack, progressive banking. You can really get after it at this place, but I think weather is really going to hold these drivers back, at least the first half of the race.
Johnny Rumley reestablished a track record when we were here earlier in the year, back in the month of April. Scott, also, pit road is an interesting situation. They enter in turn 2, they exit out of turn 2. Field is set for a green flag, and Michael Cussey, he's a plant engineer at Owens Brockway, waves the green flag. We're underway in the Sponge Absorbent 250. Scott, looks like everybody tiptoeing, but it was from the inside. Benny Gordon getting the run in the 66 car.
If I'm Johnny Rumley, I'm going to go ahead and let him do that. I want to be able to just get in line and get my tires up underneath me. Remember, they didn't get a lot of practice here this morning, so really our setups are just by what notes we brought the first time, and we're on a different compound tire. We're just a little bit harder compound than we were earlier this year, so there's a lot of new stuff going to happen today.
Minimal amount of practice, no Advanced Auto Parts poll qualifying times posted. Field coming to the grid based on their standings in the points coming into this event. And after that shakeup at Mansfield last week, we saw Benny Gordon go to the head of the class in terms of points. Rumley, who had been a point leader from early on in the season, in fact, the second race of the season, starting from the outside. As we take a look, Gary St. Amant, they have clinched for the Northern Division of the Pro Cup Series, the Rookie of the Year title. Of course, the overall National Rookie of the Year title for the Hooters Pro Cup Series to be decided during that championship series of 5 races. And there's a $25,000 payday waiting on that. We ride along with Gary St. Amant as he works his way around this speedway early on in the Sponge Absorbent 250. Benny Gordon enjoying about a car length, maybe a car length and a half at time, advantage over Johnny Rumley. Marty Lindley riding in that third position in that Ford.
I really like what Benny Gordon said when we talked to him in that interview. He said, you know, my car, a little bit of damage on the 06. Caution is out.
First caution is out, and the 06 apparently involved as the 36 of Jimmy Spencer Jr., the Bill Miller Equipment Sales Chevrolet, has swapped ends. Let's take a look. Residual damage there. Chad Mullis wowing down for the spun Spencer machine, and J.J. Pack apparently nowhere to go for the 06 of J.J. Pack. The Hilo Air, TrackTalkLive.com Chevrolet. We'll be back to South Boston right after this.
The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters, the cure for the common restaurant. Lucas Oil, the official lubricant of USAR. Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. Top your salad with preservative-free, naturally fresh salad dressing. Look for it in your supermarket's produce section.
Welcome back to South Boston Speedway. Under the first caution flag of the afternoon, Benny Gordon and Johnny Rumley ready to lead the field back to green. On the restart, everybody digging for a little bit of traction out of turn 4, Scott.
I think what they're trying to do is just get themselves lined up where they can not let the guy in front of them get too far away. It's so hard to make track position. You can't afford to get too far away. How about this? Jeff Agnew, great run.
Battle for third. Agnew in the NGA Hooters Pro Golf Tour. Chevrolet looking to the inside of the Hooters Air Ford. A little contact.
Ooh. He really got on the brakes hard, just barely missed Marty Lindley. Great job by Jeff Agnew just to hold that thing between the fences.
Gary St. Amant behind them watching all the action. Johnny Rumley to the inside that time out of turn 4. Couldn't get a run on Benny Gordon. Gordon's car going up the banking a little bit, trying a little different groove right now.
Well, this is progressive banking, and what that means is as you start going up the bank in the corners, it gets more and more, and there's usually better grip, but right now they're painting the bottom. Matter of fact, they're hitting that flat down there, making these cars turn.
Battle for 7th position. Brian Ross swings to the outside of St. Amant, and Sammons putting the charge. He's trying the outside groove on Corbett. Looks like the outside groove is starting to come in a little bit here very early.
If you can get far enough in front of the guy, in other words, get wheel to wheel with him and turn them back down, it is an advantage on the outside. Right there, he just slipped up a little bit, and the 11 car slides back past him, but you have to get all the way to where you make them turn back down. You have the advantage.
Brian Ross, his second outing here in the Northern Division of the Hooters Pro Cup Series with that energy drink Ford. Go back up front, the Lucas Oil Chevrolet, make that a Pontiac. Make change this week for Johnny Rumley. Went from the Chevy to the Pontiac, but they nonetheless are putting a lot of pressure on that Predator Performance Ford of Benny Gordon. Gordon, the point leader, has come into this race. Oh, and Rumley. A calling card there on the back bumper.
As they say, that's using the chrome horn. Let him know he's there.
Absolutely. Short track racing at its best here at the Hooters Pro Cup Series. Rumley and Benny Gordon going at it for the lead. Getting into the corner there, looked like Gordon's car wanted to hunt around just a little bit.
Well, that's a shock package, and just watch this race car. It sets down in the left front, and it really, really crushes, and it stays right there. Rumley's car looks really solid from this angle, doesn't it?
It certainly does. On board with Marty Lindley, the Hooters Air Ford. Deep in the field, here is Wayne Setterington in the 69 car. Settering to the inside, and looks like he's going to get a spot back from Jimmy Spencer Jr. in the Bill Miller Equipment Sales Chevrolet. Spencer, the cause for the first caution of the afternoon. Apparently no damage to that race car. Battle is heating up once again for 3rd position, just behind your 2 leaders here. Jeff Agnew trying to work his way around Marty Lindley. Stacy Burrier, one of his rare starts here in 2004, the 01, working his way up. Alan Perkeiser, crew chief, at least in years past, with Mike Laughlin Jr. in Mike Laughlin Jr.'s car. We saw this car with a good run last week at Peach State Speedway with Mike on board. Tonight, Alan piloting that race car, the Tucson Ford, and doing a pretty good job of it.
Perkeiser's, he had a great run here last year, and he's really, looks like he's picked up right where he left off from before, and that car's very solid. But Stacy Purrier has an excellent race car, and he can run right on the bottom. He had all 4 wheels on the flat down there and still was able to turn.
Stacy Purrier, they could not get a sponsorship package arranged for 2004. His own effort here at the Pro Cup Series here this year. The BLC Building Centers and DeGraw Chiropractic Center Chevrolet. Been running late model stock right here at South Boston Speedway during the year, doing right well with that particular effort, but wanted to get back to Pro Cup racing and made sure he was able to run this weekend's race. Talked with him at length during the month of April, and he really missed not being on the racetrack. Setterington trying to work by Kevin Cromer. Heavy traffic here deep in the field. Cromer, that 76 machine. You've got the Mackinson machine. Leaders starting to work on traffic. Mackinson going a lap down. Now Kevin Cromer about to go a lap down that 76 car, the Temp Star. Cromer Plumbing and Heating Chevrolet. Take a look at your Tucson leaderboard. Top 10 shown here at lap number 25. Benny Gordon working his way through traffic. Robbie Marhefka in the Clark's Chevrolet about to go a lap down. Marhefka drives the car to the bottom groove. Gives Benny Gordon and Johnny Rumley plenty of room to work his way through. Look a little further back. Looks like Marty Lindley has got mired in traffic, and he has got Jeff Agnew all over his rear bumper.
Whoa,
trouble.
Hold on.
J.J. Pack in trouble with the 06. Sam Fallone had to keep that car in line, almost got in trouble, but it is the 06 of J.J. Pack, the Hilo Air Chevrolet. That car is really used up on the front, Scott.
Well, that is one of the dangers right here at South Boston, is when a car gets crossways, there is very little room, and everybody starts rolling up. It's usually a big wreck when we get one crossed up like that. They did a great job just getting around him.
Part-time scheduler in 2004 for J.J. Pack, and his day has come up very short here in the Sponge Absorbent 250.
What's this?
Leader to pit road, Benny Gordon has elected to come to pit road. Hard to believe he's got a problem with that race car, Scott.
Yeah, I'm a little bit wondering what's going on. Does he feel as though he has a flat tire? Wow.
Well, so Benny Gordon on pit road in that Predator Performance Ford. Understand that he is being brought to pit road.
Yeah, they're going to bring him down. They think there's an oil leak on this race car, so they're bringing him to pit road. You're leading the race. If there's an oil leak, this is a bad situation.
Well, Doug Rice is on his way to that pit area. Let's head down to Doug Rice to find out what the problem is here with Benny Gordon.
Benny Gordon, the points leader and pole sitter, coming into the pits here. A couple of inspectors checking the car out to see if he's possibly leaking fluids. Crew members also down on the ground here to check out the condition of the points leader and pole sitter car. He gets the thumbs up to go back out onto the racetrack. So apparently no fluids coming out from underneath the 66 of Benny Gordon.
So Gordon, and he is going to get away. Chad Mullis also on pit road, a wedge adjustment on that race car.
Yeah,
Scott.
evidently his car is just a little bit loose, probably has a lot to do with the racetrack, had to tighten it back up. But man, that was bizarre, but there's no oil leak.
Let's go back down to Doug Rice. He's with Todd Gordon.
Todd, I know that's not what you wanted to be doing here early on in the race. Why did you have to come in?
Well, somebody claimed we had an oil leak. There apparently wasn't any oil leak, but we had a little tech session going on at the same time. You know, when you're running good, people are going to question everything, and it doesn't bother us none. We're straight. We're ready to go. Our Predator engines, our Predator team, Murray's Ford, we're just hitting things on the money right now, and hey, I'm glad for it.
Can you elaborate on what's being called into question?
Well, you know, there's all different types of things going on with softeners or traction controls and stuff of that sort. So, you know, they kind of just checked our tack over, but you know, there's nothing there.
Okay, now how does this upset your strategy for the rest of the race?
We get to go back to the front. So we're just in the same position. The only thing that would affect my strategy is the weather.
Well, Scott, they were brought down to pit road by officials, so they do indeed, since they didn't work on the car, get to reclaim their spot. We'll be back to South Boston right after this message.
You're watching the Sponge Absorbent 250 here on Speed. When you come to the track, don't forget to register for the Team Hooters Challenge so you can win $500.
Well, this weekend, Roy Breeden out of Rustburg, Virginia, is the Team Hooters Challenge winner. He has selected Marty Lindley to repeat here at South Boston Speedway and be his trip to the $500 payday in the Team Hooters Challenge. Restart as we ride along with Marty Lindley. Lindley in that third spot following Benny Gordon and the 8 car of Johnny Rumley. Those 2 cars have set sail. They've got a 2, maybe 3 car length advantage already.
Well, I like his pick about Marty Lindley, but the thing is, it's hard enough to win once in the Hooters Pro Cup Series. It's really hard to win the second time, especially at the same racetrack. Just a little bit about Benny Gordon bringing him down pit road. They were looking for an oil leak. They're also looking maybe for a little traction control device. I don't know, maybe there's some accusations going on. We're not going to go into that, but I just want to make you aware of the fact that they are looking for something else. Hey, give a call to the officials. They want to make everything even for everybody.
Absolutely. That is the key here in the series, to make sure that they have an even playing field for everybody. And Benny Gordon, when he brought this car out up at Lake Erie Speedway, that car was ballistic. This thing has really been able to turn the corner. He's put together back-to-back wins with the race car. And quite obviously, there's going to be a lot of folks in pit area that are going to be jealous of that machine. Traffic deeper in the field. We look behind the top 5. We see Brian Ross ahead of the 75 of Eric Corbett. There is the Robbie Barhefka machine, the 85 car, along with Wayne Setterington down the back straightaway. Back to your leader, Benny Gordon, setting sail. Johnny Rumley just biding his time. Rumley's saving that race car, isn't he, Scott?
Well, you know, he had a great run there, probably about lap 12 or lap 14. And now he's trying to just work the racetrack. Where can I keep my car where I'm not going to tear the tires up? I know that I can run him down if I really need to. Just make some laps and get this thing down towards the end, and then we'll make our run. Don't show all your cards this early in the race.
Jimmy Spencer Jr. on pit road. Several cars have retired here in the early going of the Sponge Absorbent 250. J.J. Pack, the reason for this most recent caution, making contact with the inside concrete in the 06 machine. Also behind the wall is the number 1, the Four Sons ATV entry of Roger Blackstock, and the 64S also retired. Jake Hobgood and that Germain Motor Company Ford retired for the afternoon. Here's a look at one of the Southern contenders, Jay Fogelman. V2 oil entry, trying to work its way towards the front. He's got his way around the insurance doctor Chevrolet of Forrest Urban Jr. As Sam Falone, rookie competitor here this year in this Northern Division, directly ahead. Puro Vegetable Chevrolet of Falone. This kid's had some good runs. Brakes just haven't gone his way, Scott.
He's got a good run going here today. Oh, man, that's too bad.
The Advantage Motorsports entry of Wayne Setterington coming to pit road. So the Ovid, Michigan driver having a long tow to South Boston Speedway, and Hood looks like it's going to go up on that entry. Back up front, Benny Gordon had a little bit of an advantage. Now Johnny Rumley has rolled back in, just absorbed the advantage that Benny Gordon had been able to open up.
Yeah, and I think he's just measuring him. I think he knows where he's fast and where he's not quite so fast. Johnny Rumley's very intelligent as far as coming to making his race car to his advantage. How about this battle? Jeff Agnew has done this time and time again. Get a good run on Marty Lindley, then he backs off. I think he knows as well. He has a very good race car. Just going to pick his time when he's going to do it.
Pair of two-car battles, as we have seen. Benny Gordon and Johnny Rumley break away from the third place of Marty Lindley. Now, Lindley is going to use the lap car. Jimmy Spencer Jr. as a pick and keep Jeff Agnew in check back in that fourth position. Running in fifth is the 44. We haven't seen Joel Kaufman today, having a very uneventful run so far as leaders move in on traffic, including Joe Harrison Jr. Harrison in that 57, the Harrison Performance Engine. Karnak.com entry.
You really get an idea how tight this racetrack is. There's your lap traffic on the inside. You're up against the wall. There's really not a lot of room on the inside of those guys. That wall was moved out towards the straightaway, out the outside wall. It really gets tight in the middle of the straightaway.
Racing down a pair of bowling alleys, pretty much, Scott.
Absolutely.
Take a look at your BF Goodrich 50-lap rundown. BF Goodrich Tires bringing you this full field 50-lap rundown here in the early going of the Sponge Absorbent 250. Jay Fogelman just outside that top 10. He's worked his way around Sam Falone. Alan Perkeiser, good run for the young man, 14th. Stacy Purrier from 28th position up to 15th. Good run for Richard Landreth as well.
Well, we really didn't hit on it at the top of the show, and we should have, because there was a lot of good race cars at the back of the field.
Right.
By virtue of the fact there was no qualifying, we are starting by points, so there's some good, fast race cars at the back of the field, and we're going to see these guys drive through here.
And, you know, that's got to really worry some of these drivers like Jay Fogelman. He lost a race car here at South Boston Speedway in that same scenario, having to start deep in the field early in the going and getting in trouble, and it wound up destroying his race car.
And we're too late in the season. You can't afford to give up a race car when we're thinking about going into the championship series this late in the year.
The series, the Northern Division, heads to Illiana Motor Speedway in Schererville, Indiana, just outside Chicago, 1 week from this weekend. And trouble, here is Whitaker in trouble. And Johnny Rumley apparently has gone around. Rumley in trouble out of turn 2. Spun to avoid Mark Whitaker's machine, the Universal Dental Chevrolet. And look at Rumley trying to get that car back underway before the leaders get back around. So Rumley back underway after a spin. Let's take a look on board with Johnny Rumley as to what went on and transpired to cause this caution. And just Mark Whitaker right ahead. Rumley nowhere to go.
Well, one went down. Leader goes up, Benny Gordon. He really couldn't follow Benny. He got in the brakes so hard. There's a lot of rear brake in this car. Came right around on him. He was lucky not to tear the nose off the race car.
So Johnny Rumley back underway and will take his place in line, although not quite as good as the second position where he was running. For all your racing information, log on to speedtv.com. Keep up with the Hooters Pro Cup Series and much, much more. We'll be back to South Boston. Speed Channel's coverage from South Boston Speedway of the Sponge Absorbent 250 USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series Northern Division race. Race number 10 of this Northern Division for 2004. Restart, Benny Gordon leads them across the line with Marty Lindley and Jeff Agnew. Your first three, Joel Kaufman advances to position number 4 for the restart after Johnny Rumley spun to avoid Mark Whitaker out of turn 2. No damage to Rumley's car. Up to 5th, 32 car, Glenn Galt. Second place run 2 weeks ago for Glenn Galt, Mansfield Motorsports Speedway. What a run that was, and a happy day for that team. And a happy day so far for Stacy Purrier. Purrier putting the pressure on the 4S of Jay Fogelman. Both Fogelman and Purrier starting deep in the field, trying to work by some of the lap traffic. Mackeson and Cromer in the 76 stay to the inside. Faster cars given the outside groove here and Perkeiser, the 7 car. This kid's really getting it done in that Ford.
And right behind him is Johnny Rumley. He's already caught this group, but Jay Fogelman knows his way around this racetrack. He could probably drive it in his sleep. So that is a group of cars. That's a car you want to follow to really get a feel how to go around South Boston Speedway.
Leader continues to be Benny Gordon. We look deep in the field here, just outside your top 10 at Jay Fogelman. There is Rumley working his way around the 65 of Mackeson. Rumley pedaling this Pontiac, a change in makes here this weekend for Johnny Rumley. Catch up with Mark Huff and see what's happening there. Challenge for second position. Agnew continues to put the pressure on Marty Lindley. Lindley up to the high side, a little drop kick into the corner. Agnew really pressuring Lindley for all he's worth. You can already see the quarter panel starting to rumple.
Well, he gets a good run. He can get the nose over. He just doesn't have enough bite to get up off that corner. Drop all the way down in that flat. Make the car turn. He's got him this time.
Agnew with one trip to victory lane back at Killcare in the early part of July has had a tough season putting together the finishes. We talked to Jeff Agnew about 2004.
It's just freak things that's happening to us. Everybody's been working really hard. The car's been really good, like you said, but sometimes the monkey gets on your back, and this is the way that goes. It's just something that gets on you sometimes, and you got to weather the storm. Maybe we're having all our bad luck now, and we won't have any in the last 5.
Well, Scott, that's a pretty good optimistic way to look at it, because the last 5 are where the big money really gets paid out.
Well, it is, but, you know, bad luck usually follows bad luck, unfortunately, in racing. When you can get on a roll, you want to stay on that roll. He's had a great race car. Man, most of the time we go, he's always got he's in the middle of the hunt. You know, he's always there. It just can't put together that great finish. 2
successive races where Jeff Agnew has had problems underneath the hood of that race car and been sidelined. Here is the battle for 4th position. Joel Kaufman and Glenn Gault, the youngster and the veteran, going at it, and right behind them, what will be the Northern Division Rookie of the Year, Gary St. Amant, in the 11 car.
Yeah, I kidded him about being the oldest rookie I've ever been able to shake hands with, but I did get shake hands with Dick Trickle, so he doesn't get that. But Glenn Gault, what's the deal with this guy? He's buying his Geritol somewhere where nobody else is, because they have found new life on this race.
I would tell you, they found the fountain of youth at Mansfield Motorsports Speedway with that second place win, or run there, that nearly a win. He had led several laps and looked like he was in pretty good shape. He came home second, and I'll bet you that took 10 years off of Glenn Gault. He probably feels 10 years younger. On board with Gary St. Amant, the naturally fresh onboard camera. St. Amant right now just doesn't look like he's wrestling the car very hard. Car pretty smooth through the corner there, Scott.
Well, one of the things that you're gonna see that's different than what a late model car. He's used to driving them late models where you only turn the steering wheel about a quarter turn. Look how far he has to turn that steering wheel to make it bend right in the middle. You really have to get a handful of steering wheel.
Well, look at our top 10, our Tucson leaderboard with Gordon, Agnew, and Lindley, your top 3. Kaufman still holding off the challenge from Glenn Gault. Here's a race between Brian Ross and Danny Sammons. Ross, that energy drink Ford. Sammons looking for sponsorship on his 97 car. Add to it now the V2 entry of Fogelman and Stacy Purrier in the 01 machine. Got a pretty good race right here, Scott.
Yeah, and the thing is, they want to make that pass before they get into the next set of lap traffic. You want to be able to get, a little bit of contact. Fogelman and Purrier have done a tremendous job coming for the rear of this field.
Little body slam. Glenn Gault able to get by. Kaufman for 4th. And St. Amant also able to get by the Indiana native. Eric Corbett putting the pressure on Kaufman now. 75 car, the Corbett & Son entry.
Joel Kaufman had some great runs last year, and his car was always in the middle of being real competitive. I think that transition to the radial tires this year has really been a struggle for him.
We've got trouble. Sam Fallone, the Puro Vegetable Chevrolet, around out of turn 2. 4th caution of the night. Fallone is going to go a lap down. Leaders have already bypassed Fallone, so that is going to be a tough break for the New York resident. Fallone back underway. We'll be back with more here at South Boston in just a moment.
You're watching Hooters Pro Cup Racing from South Boston, Virginia, here on Speed.
The Spuns Absorbent 250 slowed for the 4th time here this afternoon. And Scott, some of the top 10 coming to pit road, including Joel Kaufman, Marty Lindley, Forrest Urban, Danny Sammons, Eric Corbett, Johnny Rumley, and the 9 car of Chad Mullis, the Mullis Well Drilling Ford. A little further back to the center of pit road, we see Richard Landreth on pit road. The Romeo Guest Construction Ford right side tires. They're going to go ahead and come around and get all 4 tires.
Yeah, everybody's getting 4 tires. This is a heck of a strategy move this early in the race.
Doug Rice on his way to Johnny Rumley's pit. And Doug Rice awaiting the Lucas Oil Chevrolet of Johnny Rumley.
Outside pole sitter Johnny Rumley going to take advantage of this caution flag to come in and pit. Some of the guys working on his car today. The gas man is Herman Tolley. The jack is being handled by Tiny Moore. The front tire carrier is Eric David. The rear tire carrier is Greg Blair. Also Brad Tolley and Brad Amber helping out on the number 8 there as Tiny Moore comes around here to the left side. They're going to go for a 4-tire change here on the car of Johnny Rumley. Johnny had already been to the pits earlier, but that was an inspection stop after it was reported that he might be leaking some fluid, having a little bit of trouble with the left rear. Now they've got them all tightened up. Johnny Rumley pulls away in the Lucas Oil machine.
So 4 tires, 4 of those BF Goodrich radial tires for Johnny Rumley.
Give a call to Marty Lindley's crew. Man, they knocked out a stop and got him off pit road. Great job by that team.
Got some hard-working teams down there on pit road. Hooters girls in one of the VIP suites, enjoying all the action here this afternoon of the Sponge Absorbent 250. See them during post-race celebrations for whoever goes to Checkers here this afternoon. Benny Gordon trying to make it 3 in a row here at the Pro Cup Series Northern Division. What a start he had to this season, though, Scott. It seemed like that team could do nothing right. Now they could do nothing wrong in that 66 car. Benny Gordon, a challenge from the outside by Jeff Agnew, but Agnew trying to run on pieces of the racetrack that really is not going to give him much of an advantage.
Yeah, but he's testing all the water. He's trying to find anything he can, and that's what Jeff Agnew's going to do. You watch him in the mirror. He's putting on a lot of pressure, and he's going to make you feel that pressure all night long.
Well, Agnew, a little bump with the back of the 66 of Benny Gordon. And continue on, no incident. Marty Lindley in that 3rd position after the restart. Glenn Galt, still a strong run for the 32. Hubbard, Ohio entry. The American Title and Trust Company Chevrolet for Glenn Galt. He's had a great year here in 2004. I can guarantee you we've mentioned that a time or two. They have certainly deserved all the accolades that have been sent their way. A great job by that team. Benny Gordon, though, this race car, I talked about it earlier, went to mention it, that at Lake Erie. They brought this car out, brand new race car at Lake Erie, and Benny said, man, this car, I can drive it in a car length, maybe a car length deeper than I used to be able to drive the other car, and it turns in the center. They've really a problem here. Brian Ross. Ross, little contact with the wall, but continues on in the energy drink Ford. Running 7th at the time, Brian Ross. A little bit of contact. Looks like it's all cosmetic, Scott.
Well, he got in a little bit hot, and if you got a little bit too much rear brake, the back end of the car is going to come out, and you got to follow it up the hill. And he did catch it, just barely caught the wall. The other thing is he picked up a lot of marbles, a lot of junk on his right side tires. It's going to take him a few laps to get that off. But his car is not to his liking at this point in time.
Robbie Marhefka directly ahead of Danny Sammons and Brian Ross. We'll talk about Benny Gordon, that race car, and they've hit upon something with that car because they've just been on a tear.
Yeah, and I don't know if I would want to tell everybody where that car came from or what package you got, because that car is so good. Not only does he win here in the north, he took that car down south and won against them guys as well. That's really setting you up really good when we go into the championship round.
There is a shot of Benny Gordon as he works his way around with Jeff Agnew in tow. Here's Sam Fallone. Heavy traffic with Fallone, Mackison, the 75 of Corbett, Joel Coughlin. These are all cars that have been to pit road trying to work their way back to the front of the field. We also see Whitaker in that Universal Dental Chevrolet.
Well, the 8 car's been on pit road. He had that spin. He came down pit road. They made some adjustments. Oh, hold on. Woo!
Johnny Mackison in trouble. Little drop kick from Corbett. You can see Corbett, the hood wrinkled on the 75 car. Both cars able to continue on, and Johnny Rumley right in the middle of that will steer through it without incident. Chad Mullis right behind the Leapart Trucking Chevrolet. Back up front with your leader, Benny Gordon. Turning laps, looks like he's about to get into some traffic, Scott.
Well, Johnny Rumley's got to feel like he's in the middle of a pinball machine because he spun earlier to keep from hitting, and now he just barely missed that one. He's got 4 tires under his car, though. I think he's got a great race car, just got to be patient.
Kevin Cromer as the leaders bearing down on him as they work down the back straightaway. Here is Rumley. Richard Landreth directly ahead. Behind him is Joel Kaufman, 44 machine. Landreth's car runs up the banking. Looks like he's trying to find some room to get around Sam Falone in that Puro Vegetable Chevrolet. Landreth has had some strong runs of this race.
Whoa. Hold on,
Alan. And Ross able to get around, as is Todd Peck. Alan Perkiser, the Tucson Laughlin Racing Products Ford. This is a brand new race car. It only has one race on it. It was brand new a week ago at Peach State Speedway when Mike Laughlin Jr. took it to a third place finish. It's got a little wrinkle in the headlight door, but that's really nothing to worry about, is it, Scott?
No, that car's ready to go.
Back with more action from South Boston in just a moment. You're watching the Hooters Pro Cup Series. The Spun's Absorbent 250 at South Boston Speedway. We ride along with Marty Lindley, headed to pit road in his Hooters Air Ford. Doug Bryce is down there awaiting one of our top runners here this afternoon. Doug?
Marty Lindley's going to land the Hooters Air Machine on pit road during this caution flag. Looks like they'll go for a 4-tire change. Helping out Marty here on the gas is going to be Tommy Rector. On the catch can, Katie Muir. The jack man is Jim Wynn. The front tire changer is Johnny Allen. The front tire carrier is Jimmy Rector. He's waiting to hand off. The rear tire changer is Jason McDowell, and he's being helped out by Jeff Merritt. Left side tires now being bolted on the number 16 of Marty Lindley. They are waiting that rear tire to get securely fastened, and Marty is back out into the fray here. Nice stop for the Hooters Air Machine.
So second trip on pit road for Marty Lindley of recent history. First one we understand was for a quick check of that race car. So the fans here enjoying the action on a Sunday afternoon, rain delayed after storms throughout the seaboard of the eastern United States. Created havoc with nearly every outdoor venue. Almost didn't get this one underway this afternoon, but nonetheless, it's Benny Gordon. He gets us back underway here on lap 106 on the restart. Agnew again likes that outside line.
He likes to go anywhere that he can be an annoyance to the 66 car. If he can make him look in his mirror or look left, look right, he's going to do that.
Trying to draw his attention away. Let's draw your attention to the BF Goodrich Tires full field rundown here after 106 laps. Take a look and see where your favorite driver is. Todd Peck, let's give a call to him. That Home Zone sponsored Chevrolet, he is running at 8. See Kaufman, he's been on pit road along with Corbett. Perkiser spun, but back underway. Currently shown 14th on the leaderboard. A lot of pressure being applied from Agnew. Hang on there, Jeff Agnew. Whoa, Jeff Agnew almost swapped ends with that race car. He's got Glenn Dalton, the 32, running third right behind him.
The thing you have to do, Gene, is when you spin your tires that hard, you've really got to relax for the next 2-3 laps. Get the tire temperature back down. Otherwise, that car will stay loose until you get the tire temps back down. You really got to relax and let the car gather itself. But man, that's putting on a show, isn't it?
It certainly is. Certainly a show I'm sure Jeff Agnew wishes he hadn't put on. Saw Gary St. Amant, a little pressure from Fogelman in the 4 car for St. Amant as they battle for 4th and 5th position. There is Todd Peck.
How about Forrest Urban? Great to see Forrest. Yeah, great to see him back. Good race car driver. Just can't seem to get that sponsor to get over that hump to be able to where he can be competitive week in and week out.
He's got insurance doctor on the hood of that race car and looking for a little more help on the race car. Rumley's going to look to the inside of Landreth. Romeo guest entry. Not to lose a spot as they battle for 10th back to turn 1. Rumley all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. Car wants to slide in the middle, and that's where Landreth is able to make a bid, looking to the inside once again.
Well, I think that's just a slide move. You go in a little bit hot, let the car slide up in front of him, take the position away. Think about this. All the leaders have to come in and make their pit stop yet. That puts Johnny Rumley back to the front. A little bit of strategy move on their part. They may have the best race car out here right now.
Hometown favorite Stacy Purrier stays in the hunt. He's in the top 10. Riding right behind the 4 car of Jay Fogelman. Purrier, I believe this is only his 3rd start of 2004. Has had a very limited schedule in the Pro Cup Series. A lot of action Late model stock, we understand they will be at Bristol Motor Speedway for that August 25th event. That's shaping up to be an exciting race, Scott.
They have no idea what they're getting themselves into until they roll into the back gate at Bristol Motor Speedway, but it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll be there to bring you all the action for that Southern Division event. Landreth in the 15S continuing to put the pressure on Forrest Urban. Urban out of Glen Allen, Virginia. Battle for 10th position. It's a pretty good one right now. Ford and a Chevrolet side by side. Eric Corbett, that rumpled up hood just outside the top 10. Looks like it's slowing his progress hitting.
Ooh, Jay Fogelman almost had the moon under the Jags.com Chevrolet. Little bump there. Jerry St. Amant gathers it up.
That is the battle for 4th and 5th. Purrier runs in 6th position. Glenn Galt leads the way in that 32 machine. Danny Salmon's putting together a good run. That's a team that's had a lot of bad luck of recent. Trying to turn the tide and get the 97 back up front and keep it up front for the entire event. Back up front, we look at Benny Gordon in the 66 car. Jeff Agnew has not let him get away. Agnew rides at his tire track just a car length back in turn 3.
Well, remember, Jeff Agnew spun those tires. He was back off about 6-7 car lengths. Now he's running back down. He knows he's faster. He just doesn't know how to do it. Whoa, that's one way to do it.
Yep. Hey, Benny, I'm back here. See the 13 car just to the inside as leaders. We'll work around the high side. First start for the 13 of Chad Mason out of Montpelier, Virginia. Communications specialist of Virginia Chevrolet. Another local racer. And it's like Jeff Agnew has already used up the hood on that race car. That thing's really starting to show the wear and tear of that chrome horn action.
Well, it's a tough little racetrack to get around, and you know you've got to use every inch of the racetrack to make it an advantage. Jeff Agnew right now is using every inch of this racetrack.
Well, and it's short track racing. That's what short track racing is all about. It's contact racing. It's close quarter racing. And if you bring a car home that doesn't have a mark on it, you may not have been in the fray of things.
Yeah, well, either that or you loaded up early and went on home. But how about this? These guys are really getting after it. Glenn Galt still leading the way on that group.
Well, leading the way to the halfway point is Benny Gordon. He'll swing to the outside of Joe Harrison Jr. to lead at lap number 125. So Benny Gordon is your Lucas Oil Products halfway leader, leading all 125 laps. He took the lead from the point by being the Advanced Auto Parts pole sitter. The field was set by points. The Advanced Auto Parts pole qualifying rained out earlier today, but Benny Gordon puts a $1,000 check in his back pocket from the folks at Lucas Oil Products. So Gordon out front, Agnew fades back just a little bit now in the 73 car. Neither one of these cars have been to pit road. St. Amant still being pressured by the 4 car of Jay Fogelman, and we see Purrier in the 01 machine up the racetrack a little bit. He leaves that door open. Danny Salmons is going to be all over it.
Well, they're all hunting grooves. You know, St. Amant's all the way down on the bottom with all 4 tires on the flat. Purrier's trying to move up and find another groove. Ooh, little contact. You know what? These guys are just hunting anything they can find to make their car go forward with a little bit more momentum.
Continue to watch this bump and run action between Salmons and Purrier. Right behind them is Rumley in the 8 car. Mackison goes to the high side. Glenn Galt trying to weave his way through that lap traffic. Now we'll try the high side of Cromer. St. Amant zigzags the same way, as will the rest of those. Oh, trouble. Jeff Agnew in trouble. Second place car. Second time we've seen that this afternoon. Jeff Agnew spins the NGA Hooters Golf Tour Chevrolet. Caution is out for the 6th time this afternoon. Let's get a replay. Let's take a look and see what happened to Agnew. Gets the car back underway, does not lose a lap. Replay coming your way. Let's see what Jeff Agnew had happened to that race car. And Scott?
Well, it's just what happened a little bit earlier. It got a little bit loose, only this time it got a lot loose. It's down there on the flat. You go down on that flat and you try to go all the way to the throttle, all the way to the floor with it. It's going to get loose. It's just a matter of whether can I hold it or not.
Agnew headed to the pits. We'll be back for more with South Boston in just a moment. South Boston Speedway, leaders to pit road, including Glenn Galt, Gary St. Amant, and Jeff Agnew. Doug Rice is in your leaders pit. Benny Gordon.
Benny Gordon, the points leader and the race leader, comes in for his key pit stop of the day, and it's a Gordon family affair when he stops on pit road. The jack man today is his brother and crew chief, Todd Gordon. The rear tire changer is his middle brother, David Gordon, and the front tire changer is his nephew and Todd's son, Ryan Gordon. Also helping out, the gas man is Jim Fitzgerald, and the front tire carrier is Lee Peterman. The rear tire carrier is Scotty Clockheimer, and they're making the stop right now, tightening up the lug nuts on the left front, and a nice stop there for Benny Gordon along with the whole Gordon family.
Scott, didn't look like any major changes to that race car.
Would you change anything as fast as that car's been? That car's been awesome. All I would do is just make sure it had air pressure in the tires and get him back out there. That car has been awesome today.
Danny Sammons takes over the point. Log on to USARProCup.com to follow all the action of both the Southern and Northern Division of this USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series. And don't forget those 5 championship races. Top 30 from each division eligible to go to those races, provided they have competed in at least 50% of their division's scheduled races. Looks like a chassis change, track bar adjustment on Glenn Galt and left side tires on the American Title and Trust Company Chevrolet.
Well, what they did is they came in and got right sides, then went back around, came all the way back around, got their left sides. That way they would not get caught on pit road and lose that lap. You don't want to give up a lap at this point in time in the race. They got a great race car.
And again, pit road along pit road, entering in turn 2 and exiting turn 2. A long way to go around this pit road at South Boston Speedway. Restart. Danny Sammons, the 97 car up front. Johnny Rumley putting the pressure on.
Johnny Rumley had visions of going to the outside, but he was definitely cut off. Danny Sammons just making that car wide as he can, trying to keep the lead.
Sammons, a 4-year veteran of the Pro Cup Series Northern Division, still has yet to make that first visit to victory lane. Johnny Rumley got his first visit to victory lane back at Jennerstown. Sammons, hungry for a win, leads the field here in the Sponge Absorbent 250.
And the 75 car, Aaron Corbett, we've seen his hood buckled a lot this year. And it's a hard enough time just to see how these race cars, but to have to look over the hood is really tough. And it's been like that quite a few races this year.
Well, Corbett is definitely a hard charger. He'll use that car for all it's worth, and he's doing the same thing here tonight. Landreth in the 15S, trying to hold off Marty Lindley. We see Mark Whitaker making his way back onto the racetrack. Pressure for the lead. Sammons protects the bottom groove. Rumley puts some pressure on, but Sammons responds, keeps that car very smooth, but lets it go up the racetrack out of 2.
Johnny Rumley just trying to find a hole. He's going to figure out where's that 97 car a little bit slower than me, and he's going to take it to the advantage. I'm telling you, that car is a rocket. The 8 car is really, really good.
And Scott, Johnny Rumley running pretty much kind of a diamond pattern here so far.
Well, he'll let the car go in and drift, and then it'll really turn pretty good at the middle. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
3 wide, your leader, early leader, Benny Gordon, trying to work his way back up to the front. Puts the 85 of Marhefka in the sandwich. Uses the bottom of the racetrack, gets by Kaufman, and caution is out. 7th caution of the afternoon is out.
Yeah, that was a bold move to go all the way down on the flat and make it 3 wide. I saw the debris come flying across the racetrack. I knew they'd have to throw the caution, but wow, what a chance to take. As good as that race car is.
Joe Kaufman and Stacy Perrier were just hoping that there would not be a problem with traction with Benny Gordon all the way down to the flat of the racetrack. Well, there's the debris that has brought out this 7th caution of the afternoon. Bragg Environmental bringing you this Hooters Pro Cup Series Northern Tour event. Here's a little more about the Sponge.
We spend countless hours talking about safety at the racetrack, but what about safety at the race shop? That's where Richard Briner and Bragg Environmental come into play. You guys have got some great products to make both the track and the race shop a lot safer environment.
Yes, we do. We manufacture a line of absorbent products known as the Sponge line, manufactured by Bragg International down in Fredericksburg, Virginia. Offers a full line of absorbent products that you can use in your shop or industrial application or even in home use to absorb spills or fluids that might be on the floor to avoid slip hazards.
Now, Richard, you've got a mini snake in your hand here, so let's take the mini snake out for a ride here and give it a quick demonstration.
This is our mini snake product. It's a small version of our snake line and our boom line. We're going to pour some oil down here, show you how it works as a barrier and also how our absorbent mats work to clean up a spill. If you have a spill, you can clean it up with the mats. The mats will pull the fluid into the mat, and the mini boom will help keep the oil from going to places you don't want it to go, like a storm sewer.
Bragg Environmental, their mini snake, their absorbent mats, and their sponges, they suck it up at the racetrack, and they make the racetrack and the race shop a lot safer place to be.
Hey, what a great product, because I'm one of the worst to spill that oil on the floor and you got to throw the oil draw and track through it. That stuff will get it up off the floor. No more slipping. Well, Jeff Agnew's on pit road. Let's take his turn to look for that track control. I guess everybody gets to get here today.
Carson Mason watching Dad in his first Pro Cup Series race. We'll be back with more right after this. Back at South Boston Speedway, getting set for a restart. Danny Salmons, your leader. And Scott, we've talked about track position on many broadcasts, but we're going to ride along with Gary St. Amant for the restart.
Well, track position is so critical, and we've always talked about making sure you're in the right position, especially late in the race. Here's Danny Salmons, the leader, and there's Gary St. Amant, mired back in 11th. Well, 11th doesn't sound all that bad, but let's see what happens. The leader's already gone across the stripe. Gary St. Amant just shifted into high gear. Salmons on the back. Poor old Gary St. Amant just barely coming off turn 2. You're giving up almost a half a lap by track position. That's how critical it is.
Strategy and pit road speed. Very critical here in the Hooters Pro Cup Series. These teams really taking it very serious. And some good pit stops. We'll talk about that a little bit ago. Some good pit stops down on pit road. Salmons out front. Rumley giving chase. And Eric Corbett trying to put together a good run. Boy, almost swapped ins that time.
You can tell these guys are running so much rear brake because they want to be able to get the car rode down real in a straight line and in a hurry. But if you drive off just a little bit harder than what you're supposed to, that's what happens. The car just kind of busts out from underneath.
Richard Landreth in the 15S. Strong run here this afternoon. Being pressured now by Marty Lindley. Strong run in your top 5, just outside the top 5. Brian Ross, after that wild slide about 100 laps ago, worked his way back towards the front. Heavy traffic. Agnew, 73 car. He's got quite a hole to dig out of. He's got to work through traffic. Purrier trying to get by Kaufman in the 44. Lost a little traction up off the corner. They continue their battle. Glenn Galt also in the midst of that pack of cars. Here's Stacy Purrier, makes a run to the inside. Kaufman slams the door shut down at turn 1, but Purrier's not giving up, puts the quarter panel of Joel Kaufman just to his right, moves Kaufman up the racetrack, gets the position.
Well, that's Joel Kaufman's spotter telling him, look, he's got a quarter panel on you. He's all the way up to your left rear wheel. Give him the bottom groove. There's no sense of tearing your race car up. Just try to protect that spot. This is good racing, and this is how you have to make a pass here at South Boston Speedway.
Jeff Agnew saw the hole open. Gary St. Amant had gone into the hole created by Stacy Purrier going to the inside of Kaufman. Agnew closed up the distance and took advantage of it. Now Fogelman putting the pressure on Kaufman. So the young man with a lot of pressure right now. Here's Minnie Gordon trying to work his way back to the front, just bypassing the 68 of Brian Ross. So now Ross back to 7th. Gordon running at 8th. Leader continues to be Danny Salmons, looking for his first trip to victory lane, a celebration that has been long overdue for Danny Salmons.
Well, Salmons got a really good race car right now. You know, we kind of expected once Johnny Rumley got there, he'd just kind of meander or drive right on by him. But I'll tell you what, Salmons doing a great job holding him back and staying in the lead.
Well, Kaufman continuing to backslide through the field. Glenn Galt makes his way around the 44 car. And Scott, it looked like Kaufman's car just didn't want to come up off the corner. Kind of meandered up the racetrack a little bit.
Well, you know, we started to hit on it a little bit earlier. Joel Kaufman was so good last year in his rookie season. His car was always competitive. And I don't think he's made that transition into the radials, and he just hasn't quite got that feel yet. But you know what? He's a good, talented young race car driver, and he'll find it.
Alan Perkeiser, the 7 car. Bypassed now by Jay Fogelman. Perkeiser with a spin earlier on. Now Rumley starting to put the pressure on Danny Salmons. both cars all the way below the yellow line in turns 3 and 4. You can't do it over in turns 1 and 2. You've got that concrete wall down to the inside.
Yeah, I think the trick is that when you drop down, you've got to put all 4 down there. If you put just 2 down there, it works the right side so hard. See how he drops all 4 down on that racetrack? Down on that flat, he can really get a run off. We saw Jeff Agnew do it and the car got out from underneath him. I don't think you can do it every lap, but man, them guys can find some creative ways to get around this racetrack.
Leaders closing in on traffic. We go back on board with Marty Lindley as Benny Gordon works his way into 5th position. In trouble with the 3-car of Whitaker. Oh, hard shot to the inside. Double shot to the inside wall, but damage was already evident on the Whitaker machine. Universal Dental Chevrolet really showing a lot of damage to the left side there, Scott.
Well, the key is there was damage to the right front corner to begin with, and as soon as we can get over here, have them guys re-rack it so we can watch the replay, you're probably going to see the damage to the right front. Probably broke the tie rod. You can tell when he came across the racetrack, he really couldn't steer the thing, and it probably wouldn't roll up. Probably broke the brake line. You step that brake pedal all the way to the floor, and there's nothing you can do but hold on.
Whitaker moving inside the machine, has not yet dropped the window net. There is the window net coming down. Let's take a look at this incident that has brought out the most recent caution with Mark Whitaker. Look back. Here's Whitaker in turn 1. Looks like the car was crossed up.
Well, you can see that right front was folded all the way underneath. That means that the tie rod was already broke. He had a little bit of contact with the left side wall. Now it's going to come around. He's trying to get that thing back down the pit road. No. And the front brakes did lock up, so he did have brakes, but he did not have any steering control.
Mark Whitaker, window net down. Looks like he is okay.
Mark, first off, you punched the wall pretty hard. You all right?
Man, I punched it twice. That was pretty hard hit. I don't know what it looked like. Damn, it hurt. But I didn't have any control at all coming in there. Something happened to the left front, and I was out of control. I mean, it was just going where it wanted to go.
Whitaker out of his machine, headed back to the trailers, as is his car. We'll be back with more from right here at South Boston Speedway. Under caution, Mark Whitaker's car heavily damaged in an incident over in turn 2. On pit road, though, Glenn Galt's machine, hood is up. That does not look good, Scott.
No, not at all. And when the hood is up and everybody's out there on the racetrack going round, it's not a good sign at all. And they had such a good run going here tonight.
Like it may be a motor problem, oil pump belt off of the power plant of the 32 machine. On the restart, Sammons continues to lead the way. Rumley continues to mount his charge. Rumley's got to be careful with Corbett right on the rear bumper. 3-car breakaway. Then we go back to Richard Landreth. He is running in 4th, and he has got Benny Gordon all over his rear bumper.
Well, I'd say give a call to Eric Corbett because they've really struggled this year, and it's great to see them come here to South Boston and have a competitive race car and hang right in there all day.
Take a look at your Tucson top 10 after 175 laps. Benny Gordon gets around Richard Landreth for 4th. Landreth back to 5th, and Marty Lindley rounding out your top 6 cars. 3-car breakaway out front. They've broken away by a whole, 3 car lengths?
Yeah, well, watch the 66 car because he's going to shorten that up in a hurry. He's coming. Woo!
Leader Sammons across the line. Got a little comfort right now. Here is a battle deeper in the field. Battle for 7th position. Stacy Purrier along with Brian Ross going side by side. Gary St. Amant directly behind them in the 11 car. St. Amant tries the bottom line, sees it is not going to work. Trying to get by Brian Ross. Everybody riding behind the 48. Sam Fallone, Stacy Purrier, the BLC Building Center Chevrolet to the inside of Fallone is able to bypass Fallone. Now Ross is going to do the same thing off the corner. A little contact. Fallone keeps the car up on the high side, however. No problem there. Jeff Agnew along with Jay Fogelman in tow as well.
Let's talk a little bit more about Stacy Purrier. Started 28th, didn't get a lot of practice, hasn't really raced that much this year. And they've got to really be excited about their run they've turned in here so far this afternoon. If something bad does happen, they still have an excellent run going.
Certainly have had a good run. Of course, this is in front of his hometown fans. Trouble, Cromer in the 76. around over in turn 2, gets it back underway. The Tempstar Chevrolet back underway. Kevin Cromer, former open wheel pilot of Walnutport, Pennsylvania, back underway. No caution. Leader Sammons will go to the outside and bypass that 76 machine. Sammons doesn't have much breathing room now as the 8 car of Rumley is within half a car length. Rumley in that Lucas Oil Chevrolet putting the pressure on now.
Well, I'll
and
guarantee
Rumley has got, look at this, Gordon all over Rumley's back bumper.
I'll guarantee you they've been on the radio to tell him, look, the 66 coming. You better do whatever you can do with Danny Sammons. Get on around him and get some distance because he's coming in a hurry. And all of a sudden they get into lap traffic and it all closes up. And there you are.
Danny Sammons going to have to pick and choose his way through traffic. Goes to the high side on Joe Harrison Jr.'s 57 machine. Aaron keeps his car to the bottom side. More traffic ahead for your leaders. We'll be back with more action from right here at South Boston Speedway right after this message. Hooters Pro Cup Series action from South Boston Speedway. Leader continues to be Danny Sammons. I'm Gene Crane. Scott Sutherland alongside. Doug Rice has been covering all the action on pit road. Speed Channel's coverage of the Sponge Absorbent 250. And Stacy Purrier really putting the pressure on Marty Lindley for 6th position.
That's one way to pass. That's all I can say.
Marty Lindley tries to battle back and apparently doesn't have it up for Purrier at this juncture. Purrier takes the spot. We go back on board the 16 of Marty Lindley. Kevin Cromer slow in the 76 machine. Up on the high side here on the front straightaway. Leaders coming down the straightaway. Cromer is not able to get the car down to the bottom side. That's probably going to bring a caution if he can't get out of the way in time.
That is so dangerous to be stuck on that outside. Those leaders are coming up off the corner and they're really hauling the mail.
Trouble in the corner. We ran out of room. Cromer trying to get that car to pit road. Forrest Urban Jr., the insurance doctor, Chevrolet, involved with Perkeiser in that Tucson Ford. Alan Perkeiser, well, he didn't need an air conditioner today, but he sure got one. Sheet metal torn away on the left side of that machine.
Well, we were just talking about if there's a car out on the racetrack and they lose all that speed, they've got to get to the bottom. If they don't, things like this happen. Everything stacks up. And that's exactly what happened to Alan Perkeiser as well as Forrest Urban.
Well, Danny Sammons once again has to restart. This time he has Johnny Rumley, who's been behind him on the last several restarts, but now we add to it Benny Gordon, the 66 car. Some very strong cars restarting right behind Sammons. Sammons, however, with a strong car himself here today. The Tempstar Chevrolet comes to a stop. Cromer about to get out of that machine. Here's a look at the next 4 race dates. Indiana Motor Speedway for this Northern Division, Bristol Motor Speedway on August the 25th, USA International and Adirondack International Speedway. We'll be right back after this. The Brake Environmental Sponge Absorbent 250 from South Boston Speedway. Hooters Pro Cup Series Northern Division action. Set to go for a restart. You're riding along with Johnny Rumley, the number 8 Pontiac Lucas Oil sponsorship on the side, riding behind Danny Sammons, your leader. Sammons for primary sponsorship on that Ford. Certainly, look out, trouble down the front straightaway. 48 car, Sam Pallone into the inside concrete. Scott looks like he's used up both ends of that race car.
Wow. And you know, the young man had a great run going here today.
Hero Vegetable sponsorship on that race car. And Fallone has the leader, Danny Sammons, bypass him. It's not going to make any difference. That car headed to the pit area for some extensive rework. Doesn't appear that he compromised the radiator at all, Scott. Looks like the car able to come down pit road under its own power. No fluid coming out from beneath. There's Marty Lindley. Looks like he got a little bit of damage in that melee. Chad Mullis directly ahead. Got to wonder if maybe they didn't get together. Look at the front end on Fallone's race car. Heavily used up. Let's see if we can get another look at what happened to Sam Fallone out of turn 4 on the restart. From our speedy camera angle, Fallone on the inside line. He was a lap down, but didn't look like anybody behind him would have got into it.
Well, anything can happen. You can miss a shift or the car just get a little bit loose and just a tag. Pow! Oh, everybody checked up. Marty Lindley could not get checked up fast enough. Got in the back of Chad Mullis. Really tough on this team to get back up there and be competitive now. Woo.
Marty Lindley's car getting some repairs to that right front. Get that back underway, duct tape and some bungee cords to get that repaired. Our next race date, the Waltz Food 250 at Indiana Motor Speedway, Schererville, Indiana. Saturday night, August 21st at 7 p.m. If you can't be there, join us right here on Speed. On Thursday night, August the 26th, 8 p.m. Eastern is our airtime for the Waltz Food 250. Set for a restart, Danny Sammons once again has Johnny Rumley, Benny Gordon, and Eric Corbett in tow. Gets a good jump here on lap 201. But it is Rumley, and now Rumley's got a challenge. On the outside comes Benny Gordon in the 66 car. Gordon challenging for second contact. Rumley into the back of Sammons. And again, Landreth also involved there. Looks like Brian Ross smoked the tires to get it slowed down. Wild action here. Top three cars getting involved here, and another caution is out. Let's take another look at it from Johnny Rumley's onboard camera. He's got Benny Gordon to the outside, tries to get it wound down. Landreth into the back of him. Another contact with Danny Sammons' car. Here's another look.
Well, Johnny Rumley just got in a little bit too hot. Danny Sammons was slowing his car down, make sure he got a good corner. Didn't want it to slip, and wow, a chain reaction. Pow, 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 no place to go.
And we've talked about how fast Benny Gordon has been. He's also been very lucky. He was very lucky not to get collected. Hey, pick up your copy of Hooters Magazine, available at your local Hooters. Complete coverage of all the sports action that Hooters Restaurants is involved with. We'll be back. Look at your top 5 leaderboard here at the Sponge Absorbent 250 at South Boston Speedway. Benny Gordon, Eric Corbett, Stacy Purrier, Gary St. Amant among the players there. Let's take a look at our Lucas Oil recap for this juncture of the Sponge Absorbent 250. Lap number 1. From the pole, Benny Gordon takes the advantage and leads the way over Johnny Rumley and Marty Lindley. Lap 55. Riding along with Johnny Rumley. Whitaker goes around in the 3-car. Rumley spins to avoid. Lap 89. Problems for Brian Ross. The energy drink for it. Slides up the racetrack, scrapes the wall, but continues on. Lap 130. Benny Gordon leading the way. Jeff Agnew at his tire tracks loses traction, goes around. Then lap 165. Mark Whitaker brushes the inside wall. Damage to that race car, possibly a steering problem. Out of turn 2, it turns hard left, and a hard impact to the inside retaining wall for Whitaker. Lap 196 on the restart. Sam Falone, the 48 car, loses traction, spins around, and makes contacts with both ends of the race car to bring out yet another caution. Lap 201, our leaders get into it. Rumley into the back of Sammons. Around goes Sammons. Gordon to the outside, scampers by without incident. Landreth also gets a piece of the action here as we are under caution once again. That is your Lucas Oil recap, and your leader, Benny Gordon, brings the field back to green with Eric Corbett in tow. Gordon's car showing actually no damage at all, no problems so far tonight. Right now, though, Stacy Purrier putting the pressure on Eric Corbett. Battle is for second position.
And I mean, he drove all the way down. I had all 4 down on that flat. Couldn't quite make it stick, but wow, what a great race for Stacy Purrier.
Take a look at your BF Goodrich Tires full field rundown here on lap 206. Scott, good battle developing for 4th position. St. Amant's got it, and Agnew wants to take it away.
Well, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty. There's only a few laps left. These guys sure are trading some paint, so it's going to get serious from here on out. But there's a lot of new players up towards the front of this field. It's really been fun.
Adding his name to the mix is the 4-car of Fogelman. Fogelman putting the pressure on Agnew in that 73 car. Now Purrier still trying to find a way around Corbett. Meanwhile, the 66 of Gordon is checked out. Benny Gordon out to about an 8-car length lead, about the biggest lead we've seen anybody enjoy this afternoon.
Yeah, don't blink an eye, though, because that can shorten up in a hurry. I think if Stacy Purrier can get around the 75 car, his car's just a little bit quicker, he may be able to run down the 66 car.
To see what Purrier is able to do with that Chevrolet, the BLC Building Center Chevrolet. Purrier gets a run on Corbett down to turn 1 alongside. They body slam into the corner. Purrier trying to hang tough on the inside. Can he get enough of a run off the inside? Slides up the racetrack. He and Corbett bang together again through the corner. Behind them, St. Amant and Agnew have a tussle as well. St. Amant forced up to the high side. And still, it is Purrier not able to clear the 75 of Corbett. Strong battles all over the racetrack.
I was just going to say, there's so much going on, I can't tell which one to watch. This is a great race. I just cannot believe that Purrier, it took him that long. Corbett did a great job hanging out on that outside line.
Stacy Purrier finally able to get by and take over second position. It's been a good day for Stacy Purrier, the hometown favorite. And Doug Rice is down on pit road with his crew chief, Bill Mahan.
You guys started next to last, Bill. How on earth did you move up this far?
We've had a really good car here. We pretty good in practice today. We just kind of got into a little trouble with the rain the way it was, and nothing you can do about Mother Nature. So Stacy's just been driving the wheels off of it, doing the best he can. The crew had a great stop in the pits. We gained 4 spots. Spotter's been doing a great job, and we just all been working together.
Good run for Purrier right now, paying off with a second place run. Can he keep it there? Battle for third. Here's Agnew. Agnew's also going to try the low line and try to get by Eric Corbett. Agnew again all the way down to that safety apron. Corbett up the racetrack. And Agnew able to get by Corbett that time with relative ease as compared to Purrier.
Well, you didn't see the back end of the 73 car twitch that time like we did earlier in the race. They found something. They made a little bit of an adjustment. His car is very good. Maybe he can run down the 66.
We're closing in on a finish here at South Boston Speedway. Speed Channel coverage of this race. We'll be right back. Benny Gordon trying to run away and make it 3 in a row here at Hooters Pro Cup Series competition today at South Boston Speedway. Gordon with a sizable advantage over Stacy Purrier. This is a battle for 4th position now. Corbett trying to hold off Jay Fogelman. They've got Gary St. Amant, the 11 car, directly behind. V2 Oil Ford finally gets a run on Corbett. Larry and Son sponsored machine. Here comes the Jex.com Chevrolet of St. Amant. Northern Division Rookie of the Year. That was worth a $10,000 bonus. A $10,000 bonus to the top rookie of the Southern Division. And they'll all vie for that $25,000 payoff at the end of the championship series.
Well, I know Gary St. Amant is just tickled to death about winning this Northern Rookie Miller Lite opportunity. But you know what? The big picture is they want to be in contention to win the championship. I think, you know, the Rookie of the Year program is fantastic for them and that team, but they really want to be in contention for the championship.
Jeff Agnew now works his way around Stacy Purrier. Agnew's got a strong horse. Does he have enough to catch Benny Gordon and the 66 car? Traffic may come into play and help Jeff Agnew in that quest. St. Amant able to get by Corbett. Corbett now starting to fade a little bit in the 75 car. There is Benny Gordon across the line, back to turn 1. Car has been a rocket ship all day long.
Just trying to watch his line as he goes around this racetrack. He's kind of moving around the racetrack. He's found a big comfort zone in his race car. He can go in a little bit high, really turn the steering wheel. That means the car's really nice and comfortable going in. Most guys are a little bit loose. Then he can cut it in the middle and get a straight acceleration off of the back straightaway.
Scott, one of the things I was noticing as well was that he's not putting the left side tires down on the apron. We've talked about that. That helps turn the car, but it also abuses the right rear tire.
Well, as you watch your 2 cent top 10, the thing is his car cuts without having to drop down on that apron, and that's the key to how fast that car accelerates off the corner because it wants to get a little bit loose. If you go down and hit that apron, your car's going to feel a little loose when it comes off the apron. He doesn't have to do that. And man, that's what makes his car that much better than everybody else out here today.
Benny Gordon going to the outside of Joe Harrison Jr. There's second place car, Jeff Agnew. It's about 15, make it 20 car lengths back from your leader, Benny Gordon. So Agnew in that second spot. Traffic directly ahead. We go back on board with Gary St. Amant. Leave you with this image and be back with more action from South Boston Speedway. Third place car of Stacy Purrier, trying to work his way back towards the front here at South Boston Speedway. Following Jeff Agnew and race leader Benny Gordon. Fourth position right now is the 4 car of Jay Fogelman. Fogelman, a Southern Division campaigner, racing here at South Boston this weekend. Laps are closing down towards a finish in the Sponge Absorbent 250. Fogelman knows he's got to get it done and get it done in a hurry. St. Amant, your 5th place car, watching that battle directly ahead. Gary St. Amant. Doesn't look like a win is in the cards. A second win in his Pro Cup Series career tonight. Nonetheless, a good run for the now Miller Lite rookie of the Northern Division. Eric Corbett nursing his car home. That car started to fade about 25 laps ago. He's still in the top 10, running in 6th. Here's Chad Mullis in that Ford. He's got a battle right now, trying to hold off Joel Kaufman. Kaufman of the 44. An eventful run for Kaufman. This is the battle for 7th position. Mullis goes up the racetrack, leaves the door open. Kaufman's going to go to the inside. Pretty good battle just ahead of Marty Lindley in the 16 car.
And that's what we were talking about earlier. Watch Chad Mullis goes up a little bit in the corner, but he can really turn back down at the guy underneath him. That takes away all his momentum.
Whoa.
The 44 has turned down. That's a great way to drive the outside groove. That is technique. That is exactly what you got to do. If you hold that line, you got to turn him back down, and you can stay there. Chad Mullis doing a great job.
Joel Kaufman, that car jumping around on him up off the corner, trying to hang on. Marty Lindley trying to give himself a little bit of room in case Kaufman's car gets a little too far out of control. Riding along with Marty Lindley. And there is Danny Sammons. Sammons mixing it up. Add Johnny Rumley to the mix. I tell you, right front fenders are a commodity here this weekend. Rumley's front fender is gone. Lindley's front fender is gone. Sammons has got a little damage there.
We talked earlier about track position. Remember, this car was leading. The 97 was leading. The 8 car was running second. Now they're back in 9th and 10th, and they're just mired back there. They can't get back. That is how critical track position is, because these cars are all about the same speed.
Handle has gone away on the 44 of Joel Kaufman. That car, every time he jumps on the throttle, wants to go sideways. Could it possibly be a tire going down? May have cut a tire?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of things can happen. You can break a shock. Maybe the rear end, the locker inside isn't locking up the way it's supposed to. There's just so many things that can happen, especially this late in the race. What he wants to do right now is just try to stay on the lead lap, salvage a good finish. The young man's had a great race so far. Just kind of get it home and get it where they can work on it for the next race.
Benny Gordon leads the way. Jeff Agnew giving chase. We'll be back with more right after this. South Boston Speedway. Benny Gordon trying to make it 3 in a row. Got Jeff Agnew trying to close in. Laps are winding down in the Sponge Absorbent 250. Gordon pretty much on cruise control. He's got a little bit of lap traffic directly ahead, but Agnew looks like he has closed the distance just a little bit.
But I think he's on cruise control, just like you saying. He goes in the corner, so nice and wide, makes a nice entry, turns the car down and makes a straight line off the corner. Very fast race car, very, very comfortable right now. Jeff Agnew's doing everything he can, using every inch of the racetrack to try to run him down.
Agnew has closed the distance, but it could be a little bit too late for Jeff Agnew. Gordon has got traffic ahead. Alan Perkheiser of the 7 car. Have to pick and choose his way around. Stacy Purrier trying to hold off Jay Fogelman. Fogelman to the inside. This is the battle for 3rd. Fogelman to the V2 Oil Ford tries to get by Purrier. Purrier, a hometown favorite and a lot of experience here at South Boston. Uses that experience, puts it to good use, holds Fogelman off for yet another lap. Here are your leaders. And again, Agnew has closed the distance another car length. Benny Gordon trying to take it home. He's got a little more traffic ahead as we close in on the finish. Jeff Agnew pedaling for all it's worth, takes the car in a little bit deeper, cuts the margin by another half car length. Leader comes up on the 65 of Johnny Mackison. 5 laps to go. Gordon swings to the high side of Mackison.
Boy, he's really chomped away at that lead. Now, maybe he can catch him, but can he pass him? It's a big difference to be able to catch him and then pass him. We've seen it all night long. But man, with 4 laps left to go, you know that the only thing going to be left in the tires of Jeff Agnew's car is just the air. That's all he's going to have left is just the air.
Leader Gordon goes to the outside of Harrison. This is the case. He may want to slow down and spend a little more time alongside those lap cars, trying to give Jeff Agnew a little more fits. Right now, Agnew's got to go to the high side of Harrison.
He did exactly what you're supposed to do. You lead the race. You want to catch him on the straightaway and get back down in front of him before the next corner, because that makes distance between you and the guy behind you.
Battle for 8th position. Danny Sammons trying to hold off Lindley. Lindley now has Rumley to the inside. Here's a pretty good battle for 8th position. Off the corner, Rumley tries to get a run on Lindley. Looks like they may have made a little bit of contact that time at the exit of the corner, but nonetheless, Rumley falls in line behind Lindley. Final time around, Benny Gordon with Jeff Agnew. Agnew has caught him once again. Agnew, strong race car. Final time around, white flag has been shown to your leaders. They've got traffic. Todd Peck directly ahead. Benny Gordon will need to pick and choose his lane. Peck in the 40 car directly ahead. Gordon covers the inside line, swings wide. He's going to win the Sponge Absorbent 250 here at South Boston Speedway. Third race in a row for Benny Gordon. Jeff Agnew gave a strong charge here at the end, Scott.
Absolutely did. These guys are still racing. Whoa!
8th place finish. Quite a dandy. Danny Sammons doing all he can, but it is Benny Gordon on his way to victory lane for the third time in a row in the Hooters Pro Cup Series. We'll be back to hear more from your winner right after this message.
The USAR Hooters Pro Cup Series is brought to you by Hooters, the cure for the common restaurant. Miller Lite. Grab a Miller Lite. It's Miller time. Lucas Oil Products, a leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants. Jackaroo Meat Sauces, served in America's finest backyards.
A strong run by our pole sitter, Benny Gordon, lands him in victory lane for the third time. Doug Rice is on his way, so we can hear from our winner.
For the 4th time this year, Benny Gordon takes the checkered flag, and that is 3 in a row for the number 66. A very impressive run here today in the Sponge 250 at South Boston. Although you had to be getting a little bit worried there at the end when that 73 started getting bigger and bigger in your rearview mirror.
Oh, Jeff's been awesome fast, and he's had a terrible string of bad luck, and we've had nothing but great luck. So I told him earlier I actually felt bad for him, and but he was coming, and he was about a half a tenth quicker, and I tried to take it easy, so because I had a good lead. So I took it easy enough to let him catch me a little bit, but then we picked it up towards the end there, so made it a good race.
Obviously, there was a little bit of guesswork today. You guys just had a limited amount of practice, and you had to go out there facing somewhat the unknown.
Yeah, we didn't get much practice, but we're here already once this year, and we tested here at the beginning of the year. And this car's been working on about the same thing everywhere, except for a little bit of shock adjustment here or there. So we figured we'd be pretty good, and the car we made some adjustments at halfway, and the car was awesome. You know, I just got to thank Prayer Performance and these guys back here. I mean, I just got one heck of a good team, and Murray's Ford's behind us all the way too. So just a good team effort.
Benny, pretty impressive stats this year. Only one finish out of the top 10 here, 11 races deep, 4 wins on the year.
Yeah, it's just like I said, a great team. I mean, and it was kind of hard at the beginning of the year because we didn't have a single racing part. So it took us 3-4 months to build this team, and got behind on testing a little bit. But this second car here has been awesome. That's 4 wins in 2 seconds, I believe, on it. So it's awesome.
All right, let's let Benny soak up the enjoyment of being in victory lane in the Sponge 250.
Well, I'm going to tell you, Gene, you look at it this way, he's picking up a lot of momentum to go into that championship series, and I like their chances.
Remember what he did last year. Here's your finishing order in the Sponge Absorbent 250. Gordon Agnew. Purrier, what a run for him. Richard Landreth had a strong run. He'll come home 11th. Kaufman struggling a bit, will finish 12th. Good run for Perkheiser in 13th. Marhefka Mason at his only Pro Cup Series start comes home 16th. Rest of the finishing order including Jake Hobgood and Roger Blackstock.
Glenn Galt had a great race car early, ended up breaking an oil pump belt. Too bad for that team because that car was fast.
Jeff Agnew rebounds after 2 struggling finishes to finish second here tonight. Doug Rice is with him.
Jeff Agnew ran toward the front all day long here in South Boston. When it was all said and done, a second place finish. Looked like you were reeling in Benny there toward the end. Was that really the case?
Well, of course, we'll think so, but you never know. You never know how hard he was running, but it seemed like, I was running pretty hard there at the first of the race just to see if we could do anything with him. Benny and those guys got that thing rolling really strong. But I believe the NGA Hooters Pro Golf Tour car was just a little bit better today, and I spun it out down here, and then they penalized me for dropping down too early. I'm getting confused on the rule on that, so we're going to have to figure out what that is. May just go to the longest line there, and that just really killed us. Got behind Gary St. Amant, and he's just a super good race car driver, and he hits the same mark every lap, and only way I could get by him is to boot him a little bit over here off of 2, and I hope he knows what happened there, and just thank the guys for working really hard, and the whole team, and Eddie Asbury, and just had a pretty good night.
So good run for Jeff Agnew. 4 regular season races remain. Indiana Motor Speedway and Bristol Motor Speedway before we go to championship races. You're a hard charger. And third place finisher was Stacy Purrier. And he is caught up with Doug Rice.
Almost everybody likes a Cinderella story, a David Goliath story. We've got one here today. Stacy Purrier starting way back in the back of the pack and rallying to come home in third place. How did you guys pull this off?
Well, we just started so far back. My dad asked me last night, he says, is it any need in starting this race? And I said, Daddy, we came here to race. And it really feels great to get back to a podium finish in a Hooters Pro Cup Series. I think we had something for him. I don't know if we had anything for Benny or not. We abused the car really bad coming from the back, and man, how about my guys? Had an awesome pit stop. We come in running 6 and went out ahead of Benny Gordon, Jeff Agnew, Gary St. Amant. Just an awesome pit stop. It helped us with track position, and I just have been off so bad this year, the 2 races that we have run, that I didn't want to under-adjust at halfway, and or when we took our tires, and we took our tires, and I over-adjusted, got a little bit too loose, and just couldn't run with Benny there at the end. I thought we could finish second. Jeff was just a little bit tighter than I was, and I've done a pretty good job of blocking Jay there. I apologize to him, but I wanted that podium finish. I want to get back to Hooters Pro Cup racing. We got a good team, good car. We just need a sponsor. We got a so-so drivers.
Look at the points for the rookies. Gary St. Amant clinches the Northern Division rookie standings with Sam Flown, Jeff Rourke, Jimmy Spencer, and DJ Kennington rounding out your top 5. For the 8th time, Gary St. Amant has picked up the Rookie of the Race award, and Doug Rice is with him.
I guess it's appropriate that I catch up with the Northern Division Rookie of the Year, 41-year-old Gary St. Amant, while he's sitting on the pit wall here. Nice run today.
Was that 21, Doug? Was that
yeah, that's right. You can imagine whatever you want to. All right, let's see. Not a bad day. 5th place finish, and you clinched the Northern Division Rookie of the Year title.
Yeah, it's really, I'm not happy. I felt like coming back to South Boston, we'd have a lot better car than what we did, and 5th place finish was probably good, for what we had, but I got the bumper put on me there, lost a couple spots, about 30 to go, and I probably overdrove the car after that, kind of used it up, but tickled to death to win this Rookie of the Year for the Northern Division. Back when I was probably 21, and in about 1986, I lost the Rookie of the Year in ASA to Kenny Wallace, so this kind of makes up for that a little bit.
All right, the folks from Miller Lite will be writing a little check here to Gary St. Amant, Northern Division Rookie of the Year in 2004.
Well, St. Amant, big smile about that. Top 10 of the point standings. Gordon and Rumley, St. Amant in 3rd. Benny Gordon's got a sizable lead, 98 points, Scott.
Yeah, but Jeff Agnew needed a good run to get him back in contention so he can be hanging around that top 5.
Next race, Indiana Motor Speedway, the Waltz Foods 250, Schererville, Indiana. You can see it here on Speed on Thursday night, August the 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern. Leading you with some of the action of today's Sponge Absorbent 250. Our thanks to Racing Electronics, provider of our official racing communications. Best Golf Cars, provider of our at-track transportation. Bragg Environmental, the official spill absorbent of the USAR. And log on to Speed TV for all your racing information. SpeedTV.com. I'm Gene Crane for my broadcast partner Scott Sutherland and Doug Rice down on pit road. Glad you could join us. Catch us next week from Schererville, Indiana, and another exciting Hooters Pro Cup Series race.